The bride screamed so loud it cut through the air like glass shattering, her white dress billowing as the dock beneath her lurched, champagne glasses tipping, tables sliding, and 200 guests realizing they weren't standing on firm land anymore, but drifting helplessly into the middle of the lake. I sat on my porch with a glass of lemonade in one hand and my binoculars in the other, whispering under my breath, "Told you so?" Because 30 minutes earlier, I'd warned Karen, our self-crowned HOA president, that my dock wasn't her personal wedding venue. She didn't listen. She never listened. That morning had started like any other quiet Saturday. The lake was still, fog hugging the tree line, birds chattering as if nothing in the world could disturb the peace. I stepped out with my coffee, planning to oil a few planks on the dock, maybe feed the ducks. Then I heard it, the buzz of a power drill. When I turned, my heart almost jumped out of my chest. There it was, a massive white canopy halfway up, pastel chairs lined neatly in rows, two bulky guys dragging in speakers, and at the center of the chaos stood Karen, sunglasses perched on her highlighted hair, clipboard in hand like she was hosting some royal coronation. I stormed down the path, weaving between floral arches and buckets of champagne. "Karen, what the hell are you doing?" She turned, chirpy as ever. "Oh, relax, Joe. We're just borrowing your dock for a few hours. It's for my niece's big day. Don't be such a grump. We'll clean everything up." I froze. My dock, my private property. She waved a piece of paper in my face, like it was supposed to silence me. I snatched it. It was a wedding invitation, not a permit, not even close. "This isn't community space," I snapped. "This is trespassing. Pack it up." Her smile soured, but only for a second. "Don't be difficult, Joe. Think of the neighborhood. Think of how romantic this is. Everyone will remember it." Then she spun back around, barking orders at the caterers as if my voice didn't matter. I stood there for a few seconds, fists clenched, anger boiling. Part of me wanted to call the cops. Part of me wanted to grab every last chair and throw it into the water. But then I remembered the quick release system I'd built into the dock during winter repairs. One pull, and the whole thing would float free. Karen had no idea. So I turned away. Calm, silent, back up the path. She thought she'd won. But I'd warned her once, and that was enough. By the time the ceremony began, I was already back on my porch. The bride walked down the aisle. The groom fidgeted, and Karen stood smug at the side like she owned the lake. I slipped into the boathouse, flipped the lever, and went back to my rocking chair. At first, nothing. Then the dock groaned, shifted, and began to drift. Slowly at first, unnoticed. But when the flower girl pointed at the widening gap of water between dock and shore, chaos broke loose. Guests screamed. The DJ's table toppled. A speaker splashed into the lake. The bride clutched her veil. The groom staggered like he was seasick. And Karen shrieked through a megaphone about lawsuits and sabotage. I just sat there, sipping lemonade, binoculars steady. Within minutes, it was a circus. A neighbor tried launching a paddle boat rescue, 2 volunteers paddling like squirrels in a hurricane. One slipped into the water, the other spun in circles. Guests wailed, kids cried. A platter of shrimp cocktail went flying when the bride's mother fainted. And all of it, every insane second, was live-streamed by some teenager. Titanic 2.0, the internet dubbed it. Karen's Dock of Doom. I nearly spit out my drink laughing. But even as I laughed, something gnawed at me, sitting there, watching people stumble, Watching Karen scream, I asked myself if I'd gone too far. Was I the villain now? Did I endanger them? For a split second. Guilt clawed at me, but then I remembered. I warned her. I told her the dock wasn't secured. Told her it wasn't hers. She trespassed. Dismissed me. Waved that damn invitation like it was law. No, this wasn't on me. This was Karen's chaos, not mine. The next night, Karen called an emergency HOA meeting. Everyone came. The curious. The fed up. Even the quiet neighbors who never showed before. Karen strutted in with pearls around her neck, face plastered with fake calm. She took the podium like a politician. As many of you know, an unfortunate incident occurred, she said. The dock in question was manipulated, endangering our residents. No permits, no safety checks. That was it. I raised my hand. She ignored me, so I spoke anyway. Karen, I warned you. You ignored me. You trespassed. And the entire internet saw it. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. A woman in front called out, I nearly fell in the lake because of you. Another neighbor shouted about food poisoning from the catering left in the sun. The tide turned fast. Karen tried to claim the video was edited, taken out of context, but no one bought it. Then Paul, a retired firefighter and one of the few board members people respected, stood up, calm, steady. Karen, you've overstepped before, but this was reckless. You abused your role, endangered people, and tried to cover it up. The room erupted. Old grievances spilled out, fines for mailbox paint, trespassing into yards. Arbitrary rules she used to bully people. By the end, a motion was on the floor. Vote to remove Karen. She screamed about bylaws, but a date was set. The writing was on the wall. Meanwhile, I wasn't done. I had everything on camera. Karen dismissing me, ordering the crew, strutting on my dock. I handed it all to my lawyer, who drafted a cease and desist. Karen got the letter the next day. She didn't respond, just stared at me from across the street with eyes sharp enough to peel paint. 2 days later, she showed up at my door with cupcakes and a fake smile. Just a misunderstanding. Joe, she cooed. I didn't open the door. I told her straight, step on my dock again, I'll have you charged. Her smile twitched. She left the cupcakes on the porch. I tossed them in the trash. But Karen never quit. A week later, a county inspector showed up with a clipboard, Karen right behind him. We received an anonymous tip, she said sweetly. Your dock may violate environmental codes. She thought she had me, but I had receipts, permits, paperwork in order. After an hour of grilling, the inspector signed off, fully compliant. Karen's face curdled. I leaned in and said, next time, make sure my paperwork isn't airtight. Then came the real nail in her coffin, leaked emails. Karen had plotted the wedding for weeks, instructing her allies to prep the dock and even asking someone to disable my cameras with a Wi-Fi jammer. The neighborhood exploded. At the next meeting, Paul read the emails out loud. Karen sat stone-faced, powerless. By vote, she was officially stripped of her title as HOA president. That wasn't the end. The Department of Environmental Protection came knocking, not for me, but for her. They traced the pollution, the damage to the lake bed, the spilled fuel from the generator. The fine landed squarely on Karen's name. Over $6,000. That broke her. Within days, a for sale sign popped up in her yard. A week later, moving trucks arrived. No farewell, no speech. She slinked away, sunglasses hiding her shame. The neighborhood exhaled. For the first time in years, people walked without glancing over their shoulders. Kids rode bikes without fear of citations. And I sat on my new dock, longer, sturdier, with a sign that read, "Private dock. Trespassers will be drifted." One evening, I sipped coffee, watching the moon ripple across the lake. It wasn't celebration. It was silence. The kind that feels like justice. Karen was gone, stripped of her power, buried under the weight of her own arrogance. And if there's one thing I've learned from all this, it's simple: stand your ground. Because bullies fold when the truth drags them into the light. This was my story. And you just heard it on HOA Drama Unfolded.